periodic error. What is that? How can we deal with it? Let's find out. Errors then that I was going to talk about. Well, all mounts have some imperfections to them. It's all mechanics. We're trying to crack targets with maybe precision of 1 or less than 1 arc second, which is 1/3600th of a degree. That's quite high precision, and we're trying to do this with mount like this, which you can do, but there is always errors to it, and you can't come around. You have to work your way around them. One of them is periodic error. Well, this is actually something that we have technology to counter now. It's or have been having for some time. It's basically what the periodic error is that it's an imperfection in the circularity of the axis driving the mount. Let's say the worm gear shaft. I'll try to throw in a picture here of that in the way. And basically, if it's flat in a spot, just tiny bit flatter in one spot, or you have a slightly non-circular axis, if it's slightly uncircular in a way, then the speed that it drives the worm wheel is going to change just slightly, and we will probably not be able to spot this with eye or with feel when we drive this, but the camera or the guide camera and the imaging camera, it will see these changes in speed because of the imperfection in the worm shaft. So what we do here is that we actually guide on a star manually or with a guide program, while we have enabled a feature called periodic error correction, or similar. Some manufacturer might call it differently. But anyway, what it does is that as you are making corrections to have a star centered, the mount is tracking the changes in speed that it's been requested to make, which then means that the worm wheel or the axis is slightly imperfect in those areas. Usually you have to track for something like, in this case, 8 minutes to make sure that the worm shaft has made a full revolution, and then basically it records everything and it can counteract the error in that position of the axis when you run it later on. Simply, maybe that sounded weird, but anyway, that's the simple explanation, or the short version. So we have the technology to counter that error, and in a way, the other fault that you always have on a mount, pretty much, is backlash, and that will cause jerking motion in the tracking, basically. Or guiding, more or less. If you just have a mount here and it's just tracking and you don't have any guiding, then let's say the backlash in the right direction isn't going to be very obvious, or you won't be able to see much of it, because the backlash is when the mount changes, the turning of the mount changes direction, like when it wants to compensate the movement from going one way to the other way. I'm going to show you on my Skywatcher mount here, because it has the gears exposed nicely.